Actor Bill Murray is one of my all-time favorite badass world builders. I'm not a big fan of celebrities or athletes or any of that Hollywood crowd, but I have a lot of time for Bill Murray and the way he has built his personal and business life is a story that I need to retell. As you know, Bill Murray's been in the movie business, show business for a long time. And he's the ultimate, what I call, world building extremist, world building supremacist. He has looked around in his particular world, I call it Planet Bill Murray, and he's looked around and he's decided long time ago, especially in the last 25 years, that he's going to live life and do business as one of the highest paid, most in demand, popular and misunderstood actors in Hollywood. In other words, he's going to do business completely on his own terms. Now, as you know, as a fellow badass world builder, when you do not follow the normal rules, when you don't follow the crowd in any industry, in his particular case, we're talking about, the movie business, the acting business. But it's just amazing. I've read several articles. I've studied Bill Murray because of his incredible life that's built around one word: autonomy. For me, I love the two words personal sovereignty. That's my goal every day, to claim my personal sovereignty, do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, at the cost I want, on the terms I want. That's personal sovereignty. But his entire life and every decision he makes as a in-demand actor, as a father, as a grandfather, is all by asking himself the question, will this increase my autonomy or will this reduce my autonomy? So like the great Jim Camp, the late great Jim Camp, the world's most feared negotiator, said, the most powerful complete sentence in the English language is no, N-O, one word. The most powerful word in negotiation, N-O, no. So Bill Murray is infamous for the word no to his agent, to script writers, to the top guys in Hollywood. They are constantly approaching or trying to just find the man. Like they'll come up and they'll have this script, and they're like, we need Bill Murray for this. We need Bill Murray to be the leading man in this. And then then the putting on the knee pads begins. Bill Murray walks to the beat of his own drum. He's the ultimate contrarian, renegade, maverick, or in my language, badass. He just simply does not care about anything outside his own personal autonomy. Everything is based on that. So let's look at the start. The guy carries a flip phone. What a man after my heart. He carries and uses one of those cheap flip phones because he refuses to text and he refuses to email. He's given big tech the finger. In other words, a phone is a phone. He's not interested in a toy or a gadget. He's not interested in walking around, watching videos and wasting his valuable finite time. So he has a flip phone that only his children have the number. Like that's badass right there. I've thought about going that way, and I will go that way. When my last iPhone dies here, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to vote with my feet in my wallet. I'm not going to support that company, that Apple company anymore. I'm not going to support something being built in China by enslaved young people and children. I am out. I am Bill Murray. I am going to have a flip phone that's a phone number, no emailing, no texting. Good enough for the badass world build extremist Bill, good enough for me. So the guy doesn't carry a phone, and he only carries this flip phone sometimes so his kids, his adult children, can get a hold of him. So he's so notorious for not being available. He lives completely off the grid. So when all these other actors are constantly needy, they're constantly putting on the knee pads, they're begging for work, they're trying, they're auditioning, they're auditioning for this and that. Even some of the top guys and gals, not Bill Murray, he doesn't do any of that stuff. He doesn't read scripts, he doesn't audition, there's zero neediness in this man, because he simply doesn't care. He doesn't care whether he shoots another film. He simply doesn't care. Family's first, his freedom and his autonomy is first. So he drives agents crazy. He drives them to madness, and he drives his own agent crazy because they can't get a hold of him. They'll call his office, and the article talks about its voicemail, right? So you can just see it's a dingy old office, and he's got this phone in there that has voicemail, and has probably got 200 messages that he never checks. And agents and directors and everybody in the movie business that's trying to hire calls this, leaves messages, and the guy simply doesn't get back to them. Like, they just can't get a hold of the guy live on the phone. So reading this article, they're like they've gone as far, and this is a great story, they've gone as far as flying personal planes over his home in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills. They've gone as far as hiring a plane with one of those banners behind it, chicken wings and beer at O'Reilly's tonight that you see fly over the beaches. They hired one of those pilots to fly over Bill Murray's house with a message for him to call them. We have a movie script you need to read, you need to consider, call us, something like that. And I mean, talk about badass. And he probably called those people. So there's no way to email him, there's no way to text him, there's no way to phone call him, there's no way to get him out of his personal world. He's a world building extremist, he's a world building supremacist. And of course, then if you do have the privilege of hiring him, you're going to pay near the most. You're going to pay the most. If he finally decides that he's going to star in a movie, well, now it's going to be on his terms, in terms of how he, works on the set. And of course, different cat, right? Different cat, walks to the beat of his own drum. And once again, he just gives Hollywood the big finger. He just gives convention the big finger. He's like, nope, if you want me in your show, in your movie, this is the way I work. And he never negotiates. He never puts on the knee pads. He never shows any neediness that these lower earning so-called stars, less demand, and certainly, easier to work with. But they want Bill Murray. They want the great Bill Murray. So that's a story. They were interviewing him once. He hardly does any interviews, hardly ever. I've seen maybe 2 magazine interviews in the last 20 years. So that's a huge no for him as well. Like, why does he want to spend his time being interviewed in a magazine? Come on. He doesn't need that. And the critics and all that stuff, he doesn't participate in that. He doesn't read that stuff. He doesn't participate in social media. These other Hollywood stars trying to maintain a presence and influence on anti-social media. You're not going to catch Bill doing any of that stuff. He's off the grid. He's where the real money is. He's in the movies. He's in television. He's not in those childish swamps of social media. He's in the real world, and he doesn't participate. So just saying no to everything. Just no, no, no. Where's the profit in this? No. Where's the profit in this? Do I want to invest, 2 years of my life in shooting this movie? No. Do I want to take time? I'd love to do this movie, but it'll take time away from my kids and grandkids. No. Where's it being shot? Do I have to travel and stay away from home? No. On and on. And it makes you magnetic to opportunity. The opposite of neediness is being magnetic. You're making yourself magnetic to money, magnetic to wealth, magnetic to opportunity, because when you say no to somebody, they want it even more, right? When he says no to these powerful directors, and he's like, nope, not interested, or they can't even get a hold of him. They want Bill Murray more. They're going to spend more. How do you think that he's one of the highest paid, in demand, and absolutely worse to deal with, and not in a way, not a spoiled brat way? That's a big distinction right there. I'm not talking about these goofball tomato can guys and gals that can't act, and they put on a show and they treat people badly, and they're hard to do. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about world building. He says to himself every time, does this fit in my world? Does this next job fit in my world? And if it doesn't, the answer is no. We're not talking about treating people harshly or anything like that. Clear is kind, like the great Brene Brown says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So this guy, Bill Murray, is a badass, clear is kind guy. The unkind part would be unclear. Well, maybe I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. He doesn't do any of that stuff. If you can get a hold of the man, he might consider it. But man, he is a world builder with the capital letter and an O. Just amazing. I'll finish with one story. They did a rare interview with him in a magazine. I think it was GQ. And he's so super intelligent, right? He's from another planet. All those guys are from another planet. Musk, Henry Ford, Ronald Reagan, Michael Jordan, any of these guys, all from a different planet, right? Just the Wright brothers, just from a totally different planet. And they were interviewing Murray. And of course, if he's doing an interview, he's not going to be one of these talking head cliche guys, like they don't have, like you see the sports guys, they can't, I call it 2 + 2 = 5. A lot of the guys I've coached with, they just literally can't think, can't answer a question. But I'm going to get on TV later, Michael. When my hockey career is over, I'm going to get into TV. I'm like, really, 2 + 2? That's going to be your job, is it? Same with these celebrities, like brain dead, deep as a puddle, but not Bill Murray, man. He spends his time devouring physical books, devouring the great works. He's a voracious reader of the classics, everything from Dickens to Shakespeare, just a totally different top 1%er. So the reporter asked him one time, and this is just crazy stuff too. He said, what's your goal for this year? Pretty simple question, right? What's your goal for this year? And Bill Murray said, I only have one goal for this year. And it's to, and this is what he says, to spend more time here. H-E-R-E, to spend more time here. And the guy, of course, is like, the reporter's like, what? He goes, 99% of people spend all their time there. T-H-E-R-E, there. He said, and I've been guilty of that in the past as well. He says, my goal always, every year, is to spend more time here. H-E-R-E, here in the present. So what he's talking about is being more and more present mentally every day. When he's with his family, being more present. When he's with his kids, being more present. When he's with his grandkids, being more present. Less technology, less interruptions, less work, more pay, all of this stuff. In other words, he's like, he knows that world building's about subtraction. World building's about subtraction. It's never, ever, ever, ever been about addition. It's always been about subtraction. So that's he knows that. So that's an incredibly deep quote. And the reporter didn't get it, right? Of course, would have no clue, right? Lost. And he says, he goes, I want to spend, my only goal is to spend more time here, replace the T, he said. He goes, I want to replace the T in that word. I want to take there and turn it into here. You replace that T, T-H-E-R-E, and you take the T out, and all of a sudden, here. Present, both feet in today. Like Coach Saban says, be where your feet are. Be where your feet are. And as Murray said, like everybody's all over the place, emotionally drunk and just, depressed and anxious and frazzled and distracted and lost and medicated and sedated. Bill Murray, his only goal, be here more. Be here more. And that's why he set up those rules and boundaries. Tell me your life couldn't be better with more boundaries like that. He doesn't give a shit how much he's going to be paid. He doesn't care who's calling. If it doesn't fit into his world, it doesn't fit into his world. And you know what? That's his secret. It makes him more magnetic to money, wealth, opportunity. The more he says no, the more people keep, asking him to say yes. Incredible guy. Love it. Absolute world building extremist. If you like these stories that I share on my walk and talk every day, make sure that you buy and own my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Business and Life. Get a physical copy. Bill Murray would appreciate that. None of this go fetch PDF or any of that online nonsense. Get a hard copy of my book at nobullbook.com. That's nobullbook.com. Also, you should be subscribing to my monthly physical newsletter, Paper and Ink newsletter. It's my world building letter. I send it to your home every month. Paper and ink. It's about 24 pages. Everything I'm working at in my life, what's working, what's not working, money, marketing, marriage, fitness, health, and world building. Once again, Bill Murray would love that letter. Go to badassletter.com. That's badassletter.com to subscribe. Something like $3.24 a day. And finally, if you want to step up into the big leagues, my masterminds, I have two of them. The one you have to apply for first is my World Builders 12-month online, badassworldbuilders.com, badassworldbuilders.com. I reference it in this email that my masterminds, my book, my newsletter, and my masterminds are like Buckley's cough syrup. Like Buckley's cough syrup. You see those ads? Tastes awful, but it works. Tastes awful, but it works. And you know what? That's my book. That's my monthly newsletter, and that's my mastermind. Just ask the guys that are in there. It's hard coaching. You're being pushed by your elite brothers, the best fathers, husbands, entrepreneurs that you could ever be around. You're joined at the hip with winners, right? Winners aren't losers, and losers aren't winners. So it is, all my teachings are like Buckley's cough syrup. A guy said that to me the other day. He goes, Michael, you're like Buckley's cough syrup. He says, some of your advice, he says, tastes awful, but it works. I was like, thank you. I've been called a death coach by Adam Serhan, my ultra wealthy 50 Park investments guy. He said, Michael, you're my death. He goes, you're a death coach. He goes, the death of my excuses, my complaining, and my whining. He says, I've rebuilt a world with your world building supremacy teachings. He said, but you're a death coach to me. He says, you're not one of these goofy life coaches. He says, you're actually a death coach. The death of my excuses, my whining, my complaining. He says, you've killed all of that stuff. So yeah, Buckley's cough syrup at badassworldbuilders.com. And I'm going to head in. The guys are done cleaning the pool here. They cleaned the black thing there, lanai, whatever it's called. And they did the whole back here, and now I got my office back. So that's the reason I had to shoot this video, because they were power washing the whole house. They did all the gutters, they did all the roof, and now they're gone. Work ethic down here, South Florida, these guys, insane. guys after my own heart. They show up at 7 o'clock. They work for 13 hours, the landscapers, never stop, half an hour for lunch, no cell phones, just go, 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 go. These guys that showed up here today do the gutters, do it all, just go, 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 go. And then you pay them and they're gone. Like, just strong. Who says there's not great people? Who says there's not great employees? You just have to be magnetic to them. Magnetic, magnetic, magnetic. Just like Bill Murray. So there's a story for you. Yeah, get some of that cough syrup, will you? Get some of that Buckley's cough syrup. I got a couple of places open in my mastermind for a couple of elite men, husbands, fathers, guys that want to go from top 5% to top 1%. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me on this walk and talk. One of my favorite stories, the great Bill Murray, one of Hollywood's most expensive, most in demand, most hated, most loved, and most misunderstood badass world builders. 2 words that changed my life, 2 words that'll change your life. Be relentless.